Hello, thank you for the invitation. My name is Michael Offray. I'm Chief Product Officer at Median Technologies. So today I will present you my company and more specifically how we integrate artificial intelligence within our product and services. It will echo the presentations that we already heard this morning. So a few words about Median. Median Technology is a French company. We are based here in Sophia Antipolis. The society was founded in 2002 and went public in 2011. We are about 80 employees, computer engineers, physicians, engineers. We have offices, as I said, in Sophia Antipolis as well as in the US and in China. Median Technologies was founded on the idea that we can provide a reliable software solution to assist radiologists and clinicians to analyze the images and provide actionable information from medical images. So all our activities are related to medical imaging. Typically, we analyze CT scanner, MRIs. We have two business units. Median is an imaging CRO imaging contract research organization in oncology. You may know that medical imaging is a critical component of many clinical trials. So typically in oncology, it is used to assess the efficacy of new drugs. So Median offers a wide range of services all related to medical images. Typically, we qualify imaging sites, we collect images, we QC the images and provide the images to our readers that will read the images with our system. So this is done in phase 1 to phase 3 clinical trials. The result is provided to the sponsor and they submit it for regulatory purpose to the FDA and other regulatory agencies. Another activity that we have leverage its name Biopsy, and it leverages imaging phenomics and artificial intelligence. Biopsy has the ambition to revolutionize the way we diagnose, treat, and monitor patients for cancer patients and other chronic disease. And I go in more details in the following slides. So as I said in clinical trials, imaging has a key role. It's typically used to assess the evolution of the cancer. So the patient will have regular images and we will follow the evolution of the cancer lesion over time. So it could be done by CT, for example. The radiologist will review the images and measure the lesion present. So it's typically a diameter that he will measure. And by comparing images over time, he will be able to assess if the lesion is becoming bigger or smaller. And that way he will assess if the therapy is working or not. We have developed a software which is named IC that will assist the radiologist in this task. And typically, we provide several tools that will be able to quantify automatically the lesion. So from a series of images that will cover the lung, for example, we'll be able to extract the lesion, to extract the contour of the lesion, and to provide quantification of this lesion, not only the diameter, but the volume. And we provide as well comparison over time of the lesion. Another solution that we provide what is key at this stage is to assess if there is any new lesion present in the patient. So we have developed what we name a computer-aided detection system that will highlight potential lesion present in the scans. This is based on artificial intelligence. It was developed about 10 years ago. It's based on machine learning. We have trained the system to recognize abnormalities that are present on the scan. So IC is a very powerful tool. In essence, it automates the task performed by a radiologist. It allows to reduce errors. It allows to speed up the process and to reduce variability among readers. We believe we can go a step further. with iBiopsy. The purpose of the solution is not only to automate tasks, which is very beneficial, but we want also to extract information present in the images that are not directly accessible to the naked eyes. We want to provide information that would impact treatment decision and patient management, and we target both clinical drug development as well as patient care. The context in which we operate is the following. Oncology is a major burden on our society. Cancer is responsible of about 9.6 million of deaths in 2008. It's about 1 in 6 deaths due to the cancer. We also know that in the future, and even starting today, the medicine is going to be more personalized and predictive. We are transitioning from a treatment approach from one size fits all to a more patient-centric and individual-based customer treatment approach. Now, this transformation will be the major driving factor behind the improvement of efficiency of future medical treatment in the healthcare. So precision medicine is at the heart of the future, and typically immuno-oncology is really, we have seen the slide before, a big hope in oncology. It's one of the hottest area of cancer research going on. The idea is to use the body's natural defense, the immune system, to fight the cancer. Normally, our immune system is able to destroy cancer cells in our body, but sometimes cancer cells can adapt and mutate. And the idea between immuno-oncology is to boost the immune system to fight those cancer. I said it previously, but I would like to restate that medical imaging is really key to oncology. It's used for detection, diagnosis. It's used to assess response of therapy. It's a very valuable tool because it's non-invasive. It's relatively cheap and easily accessible. It's a tool which is available in almost any hospital. Medical imaging is also evolving. There are more and more images because of its success or because of technology. And the number of images per examination is booming, as well as the number of examination per patient. So medical imaging appears as a natural target for artificial intelligence, and analysts predict that the market will represent several billion in the coming years. And it's already recognized by a number of studies that are going on, and I will cover it. Today we consider images not only as something that we can review, but as a minimal source of data. And there is a famous paper that states images are more than pictures, they are data. So I already touched this aspect in my previous slide. Precision medicine is an emerging approach for disease treatment and prevention that will take into account the individual variability in genes, environment, lifestyle of the person. This approach will allow doctors and researchers to predict more accurately which treatment and prevention strategies for particular disease will work in a group of people. It's in contrast of one-size-fits-all approach. In this context of precision medicine, we see many omics technologies being developed, genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics, and medical imaging as well as a role to play. There is a name for it, Radiomics. And the real promise relies in the synergy. So today, there is a need to extract meaning from this large volume of information. And it requires new tools to exploit this data, and this has the potential to drive real change in clinical practice. So here I would like to bring a bit of perspective on medical imaging and specifically on imaging interpretation to those who may not be familiar with imagery. So most of the time, medical image interpretation relies on visual interpretation. So on the left part of the screen, you see typical images. That's a CT scan of the lung, and you see the spherical structure is a lesion, a cancer lesion. So the radiologist will review those images using a software viewer. It will display, and you will have some tools to do some measurements, stuff like that. So it's very similar to the review of X-ray with a light box, for example. So this review is kind of subjective. Two readers may end up with different conclusions in tricky cases. There is some variability among readers. So a number of solutions have been developed to make automatic a number of mundane tasks. So I mentioned the CAD that we have developed years ago that was able to recognize the abnormalities in the images, and you have an illustration on the right part of the screen. So you see in yellow that the system has been able to find the border of this lesion and automatically extract the longest diameter that is used to assess the evolution of the lesion. And the system is able to do it in 3D, so it's not only diameter, but it's also volume. And in addition to that, the system is able to retrieve over time the very same lesion in the patient and assess the evolution of the lesion over time. And so the system can help the radiologist and the clinician to assess if the lesion is growing or not, and if the therapy is working or not. So those kind of systems are really here to assist the doctors, the physicians. They are not here to replace it, but to they are a tool to facilitate the life, if I may say. The CAD, the computer-aided detection systems that I mentioned, come with a cost. The systems are not perfect, and there are some false positives, and it's up to the physician to discard those false positive abnormalities. So again, it's not a magic solution, it's really something that will help the physician. These days we see new technologies that want to extract more from the images. Radiomics consists in extracting a lot of features from the imaging. So the system will segment the lesion so that the green part in the image, and from this structure it will extract many features. And these features will be correlated to clinical data and reduced to the ones that are really relevant. And there are a number of studies that are going on this technique. It's not yet ready for routine, I will say. First, it's dependent on the segmentation of the lesion. There are some issues related to reproducibility of these techniques. And even the computation of the features may vary from one study to another one. And last, the correlation with clinical features have not been fully established. Deep learning, so we had a lecture about it previously. It's really booming in medical imaging. It's coming from computer vision, obviously, and it's a natural application to this domain. Here you have some graphs that show an explosion of paper in 16 and 17, but last year, so the curve will have been even higher than that. It's almost everywhere. It touches all the modalities, MRI, CT, ultrasound, and so on. All sorts of clinical indications, so it's not only oncology, but it's neurology, cardiology, and so on. And there are a wide range of spectrum in which this kind of technology is used. All those techniques demonstrate that content in the images, there are some signal, information that represent genetic or molecular alteration, typically related to the tumors. So we are at the edge of imaging phenomics, which is a systematic large-scale extraction of imaging features for the characterization and classification of tissue and disease phenotypes. This imaging phenomics will help identify patient subtypes, and that's really in relation with precision medicine that I mentioned previously, and it will help identify the patient typically that can answer to new therapies. In this context, we have, Median has developed iBiopsy. It's a platform to analyze imaging phenotypes. The system uses state-of-the-art feature analysis and will extract a large volume of features from imaging features from the image that we name signature. It's based on a big data architecture, and it's highly optimized to process in real time this information. It relies on artificial intelligence. And to build this infrastructure, we are working with Microsoft and Microsoft Azure. It gives us the power to compute and provide the scalability required to provide this kind of system to end users that may be in the hospital, but as well working for pharmaceutical companies. In a nutshell, it consists in several layers. One that will extract phenotypes from the images. So it's an offline process. We will be able to cluster the signature, regroup them by similarity. Then we have an engine that will be able to compare those signature and associate the ones that are similar. It's what we name a content-based image retrieval. We are able from one image to retrieve similar cases to this case. And then the last part of the application, which is on the right part, is to provide analytics. So with our system, we intend to analyze large cohort of patients and to regroup patients with similar imaging phenomics signatures. So here I would like to give one example of application on which we work. I mentioned it previously. Amino Ecology is a major progress in oncology treatment. Unfortunately, only a limited number of patients answer to this therapy, and we don't know very well the patient that will respond to this therapy. So it's really key today to develop biomarkers that will help to identify those patients and to provide pharmaceutical companies typically, when they are developing new drugs, information about the profile of the patient. So our platform will be able to extract signatures. We name them descriptors as well, based on the images. And those descriptors will be correlated with clinical data and characterize the patient. So our goal is really to detect and identify the signature of the immune response and provide quantitative biomarkers that will allow to assess the immune environment and immune response. So in other words, our goal is to discover immunophenotype signature. The way we will work is by comparing the signatures that we have found in patients with ground truth, so it will come from pathology, and to have class of patient on in other words, class of signatures that will be typical of responder versus not responder. So to conclude, I would like to highlight some of the challenges that we face. The first one is a clinical question. It may seem obvious, but actually when we talk to the radiologist, the first answer about artificial intelligence is to provide solution to the problems that they have in their daily routine. Actually, what we may want to do is to provide more than that. We really believe that artificial intelligence can provide information that is totally new. So we really have to work with radiologists, but as well with clinicians to address the proper clinical question. Another aspect is access to data. Olivier mentioned it in his first talk. It's really key to us, but I guess for all the actors in artificial intelligence to have access to data of quality that not limited to one side, for example. Then we have to validate. Obviously, we want our system to be robust, to work with data coming from different institutions. Each institution may have its own way of doing the acquisition. We don't want to be dependent on a brand of manufacturer. So repeatability, reproducibility, and so on. And we want also our system to be integrated in the clinical workflow. That's really a key aspect. So it means that we have to be able to access all the information that we will rely on to provide our system. So it may be not only imaging, but as well result of ANAPAT and other key information. And the connectivity and interconnection of the system is really key. And last but not least, regulatory. We are in a very regulatory, we work in a very regulated environment. And all these new technologies are quite new. As an example, the FDA published last week a new guidance related to learning system, and they asked industry to contribute to their thinking. So that's our challenge that we face and that we are going to face in the coming months. And on that, I thank you for your attention.